Listening to the BBC World Service, this is The World Today, and if you've just tuned in, our top story this hour, voters in the West African state of Ghana are choosing a new president to replace John Kufuor, who's been in office for 8 years.
I couldn't detect, as an outsider, a huge amount of ideological difference between the two parties. It's essentially a two-party contest.
Attention, please.
Your candidacy has been accepted by the Commission.
Mr. Chairman, we have a country where only the privileged few are enjoying, whilst the generality of the people are wallowing in poverty. This must come to an end. And I assure you, Atta Mills and the NDC will provide the needed relief. May God bless us all.
Okay, from now on, you're officially a candidate for the highest office of the land.
Eyes of the world are on us here in Ghana in this election. We know what is happening in the rest of the continent. Unfortunately, citizens have been associated with elections. And it is our hope that none of that will mar the process that we have initiated this evening.
Come and go. Governments will come and go. But this time, once again, when the people's power returns into your hands, never let it out of your grip again. Don't ever make this mistake again.
The psychology of Ghanaians when it comes to governance or politics generally has been very much influenced by our political history and experiences. I think Ghanaians have realized that the best way forward for this country, and for that matter for Africa, is to have a stable democratic government guided by the principles of good governance.
We need change so that we see a different government who will do better things for us, because the youth are suffering. Now we cannot go to school anymore. No jobs.
No people don't want to work. That's why they say there's no food for a lazy man.
Master, I'm a teacher. So that jobs you are talking about, we know there are those jobs, but it's for your party people.
No.
You do it for your party people. It's not for any other person apart from your party people. They look at party cards.
Yes. Hold a party card before you be employed as a worker.
This will be the 5th election since multi-party democracy was reintroduced in 1992. And this election, I think, will prove a significant stepping stone towards the stabilization of a democratic culture, assuming it is successful and peaceful.
The election process is very well established, and I'm very optimistic that our elections will continue to be peaceful. I do not think that overall these elections are going to be characterized by violence. I don't think so.
We were handicapped by accidents of history, colonialism and neo-colonialism, by strong men and dictators and so forth and so on. Where we are now, yes, there are still many trouble spots, but we are moving into democracy.
Well, these elections are crucial for the people of Ghana. We want to know how we can increase food production. We want to know how we can increase access to education and health. We are interested in finding out how to guarantee security for everybody.
Okay, you're welcome back to the special Farmers' Day edition of the Breakfast Show. It's time for you to hear from the presidential candidate. And number 1 on the ballot paper is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. This is a moment.
Absolutely. Having me, a leader who has been in the front line of the struggle for democracy and for a regime of human rights respecting the rule of law in our country for the last 30 years.
The NPP and the NDC have dominated the political processes. It indicates that somehow Ghana has come to that level, almost like the Americans, where 2 parties dominate, and occasionally an independent candidate or small group will come in.
Everybody said the CPP was dead, but now, shaking the foundations.
8 years of the NDC is enough. I want to thank them for their service. 8 years of the NPP is enough, and I thank them too. This is the time and the season for the CPP. I'm here because of you and me.
If you vote for me, there'll be peace.
I think the choices that we have, that if you feel you're more conservative, I guess the NPP will be suitable. That's the government in power today. If you think you want to be more progressive, more to the left, I think the NDC would be it, which today is actually the main opposition party.
You the moon. We think that politics is about human beings. That's all. That is all.
The
next president of Ghana now is
Mr. Kakra will send 1,000 Ghana cedis.
I wish to assure Nana we will continue to pray in the morning, afternoon, evening and night for him.
This is the short version.
And in 5, 4.
Good evening, my fellow Ghanaians. I am Nana Akufo-Addo. There were so many years before the NPP that were wasted years for Ghana. Governors that rule by fear and by depriving you of your own rights, rather than end the poverty of so many of our people. Is it work? Perfect.
Nana Addo is talking about having fought for democracy, having fought for human freedoms. It is quite clear that they are following their tradition, property owning democracy, so they call themselves, that is each man for himself and God for the select few.
My brothers and sisters, we want no violence. We want no cheating. We don't want any bloodshed. I know that the good Lord himself has already blessed us. NDC will go back.
The main party of opposition, our principal opponent in this election, is a party that came into being in very strange circumstances. Okay? Those who had been in power seized power by the barrel of the gun, imposed themselves on the nation for 11, 12 years. And that's how the National Democratic Congress came. It's a party born out of power. So you still have a wing of that party that is preaching the old revolutionary slogans. There's that tension in it. Choose a government that will take us forward to a brighter future, or choose a government ruled by agents of our dark days. Your vote will decide our path.
Ghana has a very interesting political history in Africa. Besides the fact that Ghana is the first country to gain political independence in Black Africa.
The battle has ended. Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
We had our independence in 1957, and Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had a vision for Ghana and had a vision for Black people. He gave us a very high level of political consciousness. And so he inspired us to think that we could do whatever we wanted to do. It was only a question of putting our minds to it.
In the 50s and 60s, Ghana reflected the optimism and the growth of the immediate post-independence period, the excitement.
Yeah, Nkrumah did great. Nkrumah is the father of this whole nationalist movement. What went wrong? He didn't break those foundations of the colonial system. You know, the educational system was still a legacy of the colonial heritage. The judiciary was still, and is still, a legacy of the colonial heritage. He didn't dismantle them, and he was trying to build an African personality on top of that. So there was a conflict.
Again, with personalities, Nkrumah himself was not perfect. I mean, had, as I said, his limitations with the introduction of the one-party state, closing the door on the opposition. He was overthrown by, I would say, Western interest. The CIA, we all know now, was involved in the coup and all that, which they admitted even being involved in other states in Africa.
And since then, the country underwent all kinds of political convulsions. So we have had 5 different military regimes, and then previously 3 republics.
Africans to prove to the world that if given the chance, they can prove that they are capable of managing their own affairs. This was Nkrumah's quotation on Independence Day.
praying to see who will come out to help us, to get us something skills, the hand skills to do something, manpower, so that we can be able to gain something. Yeah.
NPP government want to give free education, and I want to go to school, so surely I'll be voting for them.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
You are attending this rally because you want an improvement in your life.
We're going to be asking ourselves one question. Are we going forward or are we coming back?
Everywhere, Ghanaians are complaining that they have no jobs. Ghanaians are complaining that they cannot get good education.
I've already committed my government to free secondary education for all the people of our race.
None of the parties is offering a paradigm shift. All of the parties promise to do the same thing, but some promise to do it better than the others.
We want to modernize agriculture, bring science and technology here.
I'm telling you, we are going to modernize agriculture. We give you fertilizer, we give you the seedlings, we give you the inputs. If there are dams around here, we'll repair them.
Over the past 15 or so years, there has been considerable aggregate growth. Unfortunately, I don't think the growth has sufficiently been translated into general well-being for the people of Ghana. When people are insecure, they do not know where the next meal is going to come from. They think that their situation is going to get worse tomorrow, on that and so forth, then you do not really have stability.
Why are you voting for Professor Mills?
My good friend, Mr. Kukuta.
Promised land, what does that mean?
Now, they declare this land.
Well, thank you very much for calling. We're going to take one more call and go for a commercial break. If every 4 years you go to the polling station and you put a piece of paper in a ballot box and you are not generating sufficient wealth, and you are not distributing the wealth that is generated equitably, and people still suffer poverty, ignorance, and disease, and so on, democracy is absolutely meaningless.
if you enter into the poorer region, you go down. Nobody to save you. It's true. Nobody to save you. Oh, you see my wife. You know what? I'm not working. If I'm working, I have energy to work. But where is the work?
The regional rally was attended by a large enthusiastic crowd from all the 28 constituencies in the region.
The presidential candidate of the party, Professor John Evans Atta-Mills, who addressed the gathering, said many Ghanaians want change due to the policies of the NPP government.
I've worked in the mining industry for over 3 decades. It's been tough all throughout. If you stay in the US, how much dollars are you taking in a month compared to what we are doing in this country? A miner in America enjoying huge salary, and the one in Ghana, meanwhile, it's the same job, it's the same gold. Why? The distribution of the cake should be fair around the world.
I'm called Moses Imuru. I'm a farmer.
Did you go to the rally?
No, I didn't go.
Because Atta-Mills was here.
I didn't go.
What do you wish for the government to do to make your life better? What can they do?
Okay. If only they stop to tell lies. Because politicians, they can easily say, when I become a government, this is what I'm going to do. I'll tie roads, I'll build hospitals, I'll provide food, what and what. So before the country became better and everybody enjoys health, education, and food.
We have 2-3 days before we stop campaigning. We need to help the National Executive to plan the program on the platform for the final rally. Yeah. I like the idea of the performance on stage because it gave it a bit of a carnival feeling and a kind of light thing. But we have to be careful so people don't assume that we are celebrating, therefore they don't go out and vote. You should give a bit of good feeling, but at the same time too, there should be a bit of anxiety. Remember in Obama in America, when Obama was giving that, let's go out and vote and finish this contract. You started this thing and we started out well. Please go out and vote. We need something similar, you know? Go out and vote. It's so crucial. Is that a deal?
It is.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Let me see. Give me pineapple. Wow. I have to get back to the gym after this campaign because you sort of eat a lot of junk food.